actually do have a thing I'd like to talk about a little bit. I had a really interesting conversation last week with Napoleon Haney and Angela Maceros. And I just want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about it, because the meeting I originally called the meeting because I had some concerns about economic development. Like, I think we're doing a fantastic job with economic development in the near term, but I see a lot of changes coming in the global marketplace in terms of consumer behavior, in terms of technology, and I just wanted to have a conversation and say, like, are we on top of this? Because when you look particularly on 175th Street and Halsted, the most of the usages that we have there are for office buildings and light manufacturing and brick and mortar retail. And I truly believe that in 20 years, we're not gonna have any of those, or we will, but it's gonna look really different because just the world is changing and it's changing quickly. So anyway, so I wanted to have that conversation with them, and just like, not like a whole, like we have to make any decisions, but just like, let's talk about this. And it was such a useful conversation and such a cool conversation. And the only thing that would have made it better is if we were all there. I was thinking that this would be something that, like, I feel like the board should be doing. Like, the whole time I was in there, I was thinking, if we could have, we have Trustee Purcell and Trustee Heiferman as, business owners, that they could talk about sort of the business side. We have Trustee Roman, who is an expert in real estate, and it would just be nice to have sort of all of these different ideas. So I had this idea, because obviously we can't all go into Napoleon's office. First of all, it would be crowded. And secondly, the Open Meetings Act would not allow us to do that. I would like to suggest that maybe in meetings, we could have a section called board discussion. And it would be like, we could put a clock on it, because like nobody wants to be here for, till 11 o'clock. But if we could take 15 minutes just to talk about things and say, I had an idea, or a resident came to me with a theme, or whatever, and it would open up, because I feel like our meetings are so controlled by the agenda, and we really only talk about the things that are on that piece of paper. And I think it'd be really nice to be able, because we've got so many smart people on this board, and we have such a diversity of experiences and diversity of expertise. I think we would be doing our job if we could sort of take it to that leadership place and have those open-ended conversations and say, and then at the end, like, say, we put a clock on it, so let's say 15 minutes. At the end of 15 minutes, if we still have somewhere to go with it, we'll be like, well, let's do this in a future meeting, or let's have a committee of the whole, or let's do something like that. But I just think that we're missing a real big piece of the jobs that we were elected to do as trustees, is to have these conversations. And so I would like to see, and it's different from board comments, because board comments is just a series of speeches, and we all, a series of announcements that we're all taking turns saying. This would be a conversation. So I just kind of want to throw that out there. I think that'd be really cool. And I think that this is a good, smart, amenable group. And I just think we can have some great conversations. So, that's all.
I think it's a good idea to have those discussions, and maybe the format could be you say committee of the whole, but a workshop meeting where you have 3 or 4 topics, spend a limited amount of time on each one, and do it periodically.
I like that, and do it in a public setting. Mm-hmm. That's cool. I like that.
A casual meeting.
Trustee Jones.
No comments for me.
Trustee Roman.
Yeah, I agree. There's been like a few different ideas thrown around about this, and I don't know what the answer is, but other municipalities do things similar. And I do feel like I agree with you that the agenda is, like, sometimes I want to say something about something that was said over there, or vice versa, and it's not really a conversation. It's just wait for your turn, and then, or like when the public comes up and makes comments. So I would be on board with more of a conversation type setting as well.
Years ago, we used to have committee of the whole meeting. I'll be happy to schedule a committee of the whole meeting. We'll schedule economic development. I'll be glad to take you through it.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?